Tell that to our northern border states. Here's the Boston Globe last week on how people in New Hampshire are being harmed by Trump's tariff war. Canada's tariffs have threatened to increase the cost of essential building materials such as lumber, aluminum, and drywall in the Granite State, which is already in the midst of a housing affordability crisis. Tariffs have also cast uncertainty on the import and export of billions of dollars of goods across the state's northern border. Canada is among New Hampshire's most prominent trading partners, accounting for 17% of all exports, or $1.2 billion in 2024. Meanwhile, New Hampshire imported $2 billion in Canadian goods last year. Tourism, New Hampshire's second largest industry, has also taken a hit. Canadian visits to the state decreased by 42% this April compared to the same time last year. Joining us now is the Democratic Congressman Chris Pappas of New Hampshire. He's a candidate for the United States Senate in 2026. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Good to be on with you, Ali.
New Hampshire's obvious, given your geography, but whether it's Vermont or Maine or New York State and states that are not on the border with Canada, they understand that the trade relationship between these two countries, putting aside military relationships and just friendship in general, the trade relationships between these two countries are essential for both countries.
It's a force multiplier. Trade between the United States and Canada is historic. It benefits both sides of the trading partnership. And you mentioned taxes. What we're going to get are more tariffs that are just a sales tax on the American people at a time where they're already struggling to afford basic household expenses. So this is a move that's hurting our families and small businesses right now. I talk to them every day across the state of New Hampshire. People know how strong that partnership is with Canada. People have family relations on both sides of the border. New Hampshire exports over $1 billion worth of goods to Canada. And we rely on those Canadian visitors, especially during the summer months. And as you mentioned in that report, they're not showing up in the same numbers. So this is going to have a direct impact on our economy. And the uncertainty and instability that President Trump has created here is a chaos factor that businesses just can't afford to deal with right now. They've already dealt with the supply chain challenges and workforce shortages just after the pandemic. Right now, they're having trouble predicting what's around the corner. The tariffs are on, they're off, they're on again. He's negotiating, he's not negotiating. So they're not hiring in the same way they were. They're not filling positions. They're not buying that new piece of equipment. It's slowing our economy down, and it's going to have a direct impact on our Main Street economy.
So there are several things going on in the Canada-U.S. trade agreement. One is Canadians are just a little bit mad about this whole 51st state thing and the threats and all that from what is really their oldest friend, you know, since Canada was formed, number one. Number two, there's a little bit of fear. There are a lot of Canadians who are, you know, worried about this immigration stuff. A lot of immigrants in Canada who would be tourists to New Hampshire or anywhere else who are just a little fearful about getting swept up in something in the United States. And then there's this buy-at-home mentality, which, having grown up in Canada, I have to tell you, was not that prominent. I mean, the fact is people want the best deal they can get. If the goods come from America or they come from Canada, they didn't distinguish. But now there's a sense of, if I can buy something that's made in Canada, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to take my tourist dollars to the United States. What's your fear, as somebody from New Hampshire, about the lasting effects of this? Because these tariffs can go away and we can have a normal relationship with Canada again. But is there something that is that's building that may not be reparable?
Well, I think so. I think it's fraying the relations between both of our countries, between people on both sides of the borders, communities that have long had indelible relationships that are being disrupted by all this. And again, the cost impact and the economic impact is something that we're seeing happening and unfolding in real time right here on the ground in New Hampshire. So we need smart policies. We need rules of the road here that are predictable. That's why I've introduced legislation in Congress with my colleague Kelly Morrison from Minnesota to eliminate the Liberation Day tariffs that are affecting the small business community right now. Let's at least exempt those small businesses that don't have armies of lawyers to go directly to the administration and try to beg for relief. We should be doing everything we can right now because we know the economy is fragile. It shrunk by 0.5% in terms of GDP in the first quarter. We're seeing consumers pulling back. So there are some warning signs right now that we've got to heed. And the president can back off this trade war in a way that allows us to restore relations across the border and continue to benefit from the relationship and the trade that is absolutely essential.
Congressman, good to see you. Thank you. As always, Congressman Chris Pappas is a candidate for Senate in New Hampshire. All right, coming up, Republicans have a big problem.